Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, it's a hot and spicy Saturday night. This afternoon was crazy. We have the Roman Empire falling in front of us. We have a brand new world heavyweight champion. We have a third member of the podcast joining us today. We got so much going on. We got a lot to talk about. We want to hear from you, chat, only if I think it's important while I read it. Okay, so make it good. I'm not trying to lie to you here, okay? We got a lot going on. We'll start with our guest, Garrett, my man. How you doing?
I am doing great. What a beautiful day of wrestling. Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and as always, my tag team partner, Teddy, my man. How we doing?
We're chilling. We're vibing as usual, and I'm happy to be here. And I love when we have another guest on the show. Garrett, it's been a while, but we're glad to have you back. We're glad to have you back. I had talked to Shake about this. We wanted to try to at least get you and Zach on, one of you on after a pay per view to discuss what we've seen on the pay per view. I want to try to make that a thing where we guys, since we have one of you, if not both of you on, and we discuss the recap of the pay per view. But other than that, I'm ready to roll. I'll be honest with you guys. I just finished watching the pay per view, and when I say just finished, I mean actually Sammy just finished his entrance, and then I had to cut it off to come in here because today was quite of a busy day.
So you haven't seen
I
the
see
last
what
match?
happened.
Oh,
I
okay.
see what happened at the end. I see what happened at the end. It's that whole dilemma where a pay per view happens and you don't watch it right away, and then you just happen to go on your phone on YouTube, and you're just like, oh, there's Jimmy and Jay super kicking Roman. All right.
Yeah. So you kind of let the cat right out of the bag. Let's roll with it. The main event. I hate that they're saying like, oh, three main events, and at Backlash there was two main events. Say what you want. There's one main event. It's the last match of the night. That's what it is. Okay. And the main event, honestly, over delivered. Holy cow! Does this story get deeper and deeper? And let's cut to the chase. The match was pretty standard for a Roman match. There was a ref bump and then chaos ensued. Okay? The Usos came out, and did I not say this? They were going to try to help Roman, and then all of a sudden, Roman got pissy like we thought he might, and then gets in the Usos' face. Boom. Jimmy can't take it anymore. There you go. Night night Roman. Super kick to his chin. Then Jay starts freaking out because he knows how this story ends. Circa Hell in a Cell 2020. Not so great. Okay? It's just getting so good. And there's more layers to this now because Jimmy is absolutely unhinged. He was the one that was bringing Jay back into the fold a few months ago. Now he's like, I'm done. Hands in the air. I can't do this anymore. I'm sick of it. He said, I did what you should have done since day one. I was watching it. I was like, damn, that's harsh, but like, yeah, he's not wrong. This went way out of hand, and Jimmy finally put his foot in the ground. That's my take on it. What did you guys think?
There you go.
I mean, the bloodline is a story that keeps on giving. Every time I think that they've squeezed all the juice out of this, we get more and we get deeper layers, and I can't say enough about the storytelling, and it's the facial expressions, it's the words that they're purposely saying, the words that you're not saying. Um, I think it's great. It's truly great cinema, and it's one of the best stories I've seen in wrestling, long-term storytelling since, dare I say, like McMahon's Stone Cold Corporation versus, like, it's the long-term storytelling and the layers and the character development to it has been nothing short of outstanding, and it keeps giving. It just keeps giving. It's amazing.
I I haven't seen the match, but I know what happens. But I'll tell you what, Friday, just when I think they've overstayed their welcome with this storyline, it's like Roman had a segment with them in the back room, and then like he stood up, and I thought he was gonna like mush Jimmy again, but then he told Jimmy to stand up, and he was like, "Make a move, do something," and I was like, "Oh God!" I was sitting there, and I was like, this is really uncomfortable," and it's like just watching a bully. It literally looked like a bully in a room, just like terrorizing a room, and everybody just too afraid to say anything. So they just put their heads down. That's what it looked like. They just put their heads down because they're too afraid to say anything. And I was just like, this is really good. Like, I feel uncomfortable. Like, I want to put my head down, and I'm not even in the room. And I was like, just the level of storytelling going on here is magnificent. Um, yeah, I didn't see the match, but to me, I don't know where to go with now because you would assume that Cody won tonight, Bloodline folds, we run into SummerSlam, Cody and Roman, but now Cody lost. So where do we go with this?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, and it's funny that Cody's so far removed from the Bloodline story, but yet we still feel like he's part of it. Where it's just like, well, where does this go now? It's like, oh, Cody just lost tonight. So if they do break up, what happened? What happened?
Well, that's the interesting part, right? And we can roll right into that. The Cody Rhodes aspect of it is he did lose tonight. And he didn't tap out, and they made a point of saying that. He passed out due to the pain. And if you have a broken arm, like they said he did, and you're locked in the Kimura that long and you don't tap out, you do pass out. You can't take pain that long. It just is what it is. You can't. And now it's an interesting situation. Does Cody go away for a few weeks? Not long, but a little while, like healing his arm? Or does he show back up like on Monday, make a statement? I don't know what's going to happen. I know Brock Lesnar's fat and happy right now. He broke Cody's arm again. He won the match. He was smiling, like saying, enjoy the flight. They caught him on camera backstage. They posted on WWE socials. He said, "Enjoy your flight home, Cody." Like as he was walking back to the locker room, I'm like, "Damn, there is no end to this man's savagery." That's just Brock being Brock. But like, I'm genuinely confused. And Teddy, you said it. I don't know what's gonna happen with Cody.
I'm also very confused because I thought this was supposed to be like an unsanctioned match or something. The way the Rock was like, I want to fight you. So I was like, oh, they're gonna fight. They had a singles match. It's gonna be like a fight, like an unsanctioned. And then I'm like, wait a second, is this like another match? Like, is this not an unsanctioned or like a street? Or like, like I felt like the next like that match was the first match was clearly like pretty much a brawl. Could have been a no holds barred match. Then Brock does what he does to him, talking about he wants to fight him. I felt like the natural next progression in line would have been some type of a no DQ or unsanctioned match, not another singles match. And I was like, what's going on here?
Well, I think it leaves room for a rubber match, right? I mean, there's a natural trilogy here that allows him to breathe from the bloodline while that story develops, and I think long term we're probably looking at Philly in April, right, for the conclusion of the Rhodes and Roman story. So it allows us the summer. I would assume that they run it back at SummerSlam. With some kind of stipulation, right? This time off gives Cody gives the story a little bit of time to breathe, and then there's some kind of send-off match at SummerSlam.
I heard a great possibility of a story that could be going out there that would actually bring this a little twist. This would be good. Well, one, with Cody losing, I'm pretty certain Cody is not going to be in the Money in the Bank, which clears us from Cody winning the Money in the Bank. So now I hope that's LA Knight. But anyway, I heard a story that possibly Triple H hired Brock Lesnar to attack Cody Rhodes. No, I mean, honestly, is it possibility? No, probably not. But it's just like, ooh, what if this happened? I was like, oh, that would be very interesting. And just kind of bring them.
It was the first time Triple H was injected into a story like that. Like Pierce called him in and was like, "I need your help," and like he was like, "Oh, I'll swoop right in and pretend like none of this was all my plan." Like,
I will say that's something that we've been missing, right? Is we all want to hate the authority, right? We all have a boss that we don't like, so it's so relatable. And I just think Vince was the ultimate bad guy, right? He was amazing at that, and I don't know if Triple. I mean, I guess we've seen Triple H be the ultimate heel for really the prime of his career. So if he wants to step into that role in an authority figure, and I think then again they're going to create a year-long uphill battle for Cody. To sort of endear him to the fans, and I think that would be a really good addition to it. Like knowing that the top brass is against him, and then you cycle back in AEW and him hitting the throne with a sledgehammer, and that's Triple H's motivation. I think it writes itself, and I think it's good. We need. It's hard because people don't dislike Brock, right? They're trying really hard to make him a heel, and
did you see that crowd when he won? Like everybody, they cheered real hard when he won.
And I'll say this too. props to him because the last 5 years, I don't know if there's been a Brock match I've really loved. I mean, I think they've been quick matches. It's like he's in and out. You can tell he's just collecting his check and going. Him and Cody, like he likes Cody, or he's very invested in this story because they are freaking working. I mean, was that 15 minute? That was a 15-minute match, right? I mean, that was a match.
Oh yeah.
And
They are working. I can agree with they're working. I don't think they're spectacular matches, but they're working. Let me recorrect that. They're spectacular matches for a Brock Lesnar match.
Yes.
They're 4-star, 5-star classics for a Brock Lesnar match.
Yes. I was gonna
you're never gonna get chain wrestling and huge spots, right? Anymore with him. He's not doing moonsaults anymore, but like
Yeah, I hope not.
But he's telling great stories, and he wasn't doing that 4 or 5 years ago. He's having 2-minute matches with Goldberg and 3-minute matches with Roman Reigns on repeat. Like this is good stuff we're getting.
absolutely despicable at some points with Brock Lesnar. You can't get around, like, he doesn't mind doing the least. Which was interesting because John Cena did an interview talking about how giving Brock Lesnar is, and I'm like, I don't
I think if he
see.
likes you, I think if he likes you, he'll go with you and he'll run with you. And I think he likes Cody, and they are working, and it's good what they got going. So I can't wait to see what. I don't know if it's a Hell in a Cell or if it's an ODQ or if it's a Last Man Standing, something like that at SummerSlam in front of 84,000 people in Detroit at the Silverdome or whatever the heck they call that thing now would be awesome.
Yeah,
Well, also remember that when John worked with Brock, it was like years ago. Brock had just come back to the WWE, so of course he was giving with John. I mean, and also he was working with John, so why would he not be giving with John? But the fact of the matter is he's not giving with other people. Like I heard the story about when Brock wrestled AJ, he called Kurt first to just see if it was even worth his time. And then Kurt was like, "Yeah, this guy's he's the real deal." So then Brock decided to go out there and have a good match with Kurt. I mean, with AJ. But if AJ didn't get the nod of approval from like Kurt Angle, Brock would have went out there and be like, "No, we're not doing much. I'm gonna squash this."
Well, he has to make the decision to make the match believable because at the end of the day, there's nobody that would, if we're trying to make this as realistic as possible, nobody can step in the ring and have a realistic shot against him. And he's a man. He's an absolute man against boys when he's in there. So he wants to. I thought it was great. I really thought it was a good match, and I'm excited to see what they do from here. And again, I think the question will be is the payoff at Money in the Bank because not that that's has been a secondary pay-per-view in the past, but now that it's in London and it's at the O2 Arena, that thing's going to be huge.
Yeah, and that's the interesting part about it. That's why I thought maybe Cody might take a few weeks off and not be involved in Money in the Bank at all, and then have the build be for SummerSlam for the rubber match against Lesnar.
Yeah.
Because I agree. This is going to be a huge show for Money in the Bank, and I think they want the focus to be on those matches, and they really want to establish that contract again. Because it's been a joke for a few years, if I'm being honest.
I agree. I don't think that they should have that match at Money in the Bank because it doesn't make sense. You'll have 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches. So why have the Brock and Cody match on there? I think you should give it a break and renew it at SummerSlam.
Because, I don't know if you guys noticed this. Oh, Teddy has reappeared. Don't worry, chat. He is not a ghost. He did not vanish into the ether.
I'm still cooking dinner, so I know last week I was making cookies, but I'm still cooking dinner because I had brunch plans early out, and I didn't get back from brunch until 5, and so I had already prepped the pasta, and it takes 3 hours to make the pasta, the sauce. So it's the spaghetti sauce. 3 hours to make the meatballs and the sauce. So
this guy is locked in right now.
It's an old recipe straight out of Sicily. So
Anyway, yeah. So it's very interesting to see what happens with this whole Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar thing. Any last words we want to have on the Cody Rhodes Brock Lesnar saga?
I think it's awesome, and I can't. I think it's a really good. You couldn't just have Cody and Roman for the next 12 months building back up to Philadelphia. So this is a really useful way to use the top face in the company and beat him down to build him back up to make people still invested in him. because I think the payoff is probably WrestleMania 40. That's the sense I think that we're getting, right? And so you can't tell that story now for the next 10 months. So it's good. I love it.
Okay, so now we can head to the main event that started the show. I'm so sick of the multi-main event crap. What to me was the main event of the show, the World Heavyweight Championship match between the phenomenal AJ Styles and Seth Freakin Rollins. And what a match it was. I honestly thought it was a little better. Let's say this. This is the best AJ Styles match I've seen in 3-4 years at least. And they both really brought it. The pace was really good. They had the moments where they slowed down, but they picked it right back up. And for something that didn't really have the build between two people, it felt like a world championship huge match. And I think it's because you had someone with the pedigree of AJ Styles and someone with the pedigree of Seth Rollins, two people that could easily be world champion and have been multiple times, going at it and really, really digging in and wanting this title. I really enjoyed the match. I said if out of 10, I had it at like a 7.5.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick, I think you hit it right on the head. It's like it's very hard when you don't have that build, and also when you have two faces. That's a really tough match to sell in terms of like what are they fighting?
Right.
Like where's the animosity? Where's the it? So I think they told a really good story in the ring. I think we all agree we could probably watch them wrestle every week. They're that talented.
Yeah.
AJ, I agree. AJ did wind the clock back a little bit. I think he's kind of been in this weird like irrelevancy place. They keep trying to throw him with Anderson and
Gallows.
And it's not clicking. It's not Japan. The OC thing is not working, but they keep trying it. And it was nice to see him showcase and stand out as the singles competitor that he is. I thought great match. Shout out to Seth Rollins' jacket. That was phenomenal.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean that man down to the fingernails painted gold. Like,
Yeah.
is just, I mean, when he goes off to film DC movies or Marvel movies, we're gonna miss him because he's awesome.
I thought he's already been filming.
I thought he did.
Yeah, they said he was going back for more though, and that's why I was initially thinking maybe it was a swerve though, and that's why everybody thought AJ was gonna win. But I have one small complaint about the match. The ending felt a bit abrupt. It was like they were really going after it and kind of countering each other and like really selling that story of like knowing each other, and then it was like pedigree stomped on, and that felt a bit abrupt to me. But maybe it's just because I could have watched them go for 10 more minutes. So
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome, and I kept waiting at the end for Triple H to swerve on Seth. I'm glad he didn't. I'm glad he didn't give Seth the moment. But yeah, great match. Way to open the show.
I like the match. There was one part of the match where I was like, "What was that?" And everybody, even the commentators, are like, "Oh, he's going for the stop."
Stop his hand.
Oh
He's
yeah,
done
yeah.
And everybody was like, "Man, interesting tactic."
Okay.
And I was like, "What in the hell was that?" And I was like, "That hurts. That does hurt." And it's like, I'd be screaming like hell. And I was like, "That does hurt." Them. Strange, but I did like it. I think you're crowning a new World Heavyweight Championship, and you don't want it to feel like the lesser belt, in which it already is.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the caliber of workers that you have. Why not have the main event? Make that title feel big. You started the show off. You didn't even you started it off with it, and you're like, all right, like we got 3 main events, and you're the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Just to let you know, I don't know. It's like you're already like someone said it, and it was the best way to say it. And I think AJ said it too. He was like, "Listen, this is the second belt. This is the consolation prize. It's up to us to make this the number 1 prize. It's up for us to make it more desirable than Roman. It's up to us to show that we're better than Roman." So I like that. But I think we could have let that main event, but. I also get it, but it's just like you just really drove it home when you had Roman main event. I get it. You got Roman, Sammy, and KO, the hottest guys in the company in the main event. I get it. but you really drove it home to just say, hey, we're not as important as Roman, never will be. And that's just that what they drove it home with that to start off the card. But hey, we got a new world heavyweight champion. And it's sad, you know it's sad, and like Seth's got to do some work to prove it to me. I know Shake's not like living like that, but like as soon as I seen that belt on Seth, I was like, ooh, that's gonna look good on Gunther. And like that's all I thought. Like I'm not even gonna lie, like that's gonna look good on Gunther.
You can't
I'm
even
just
let it
waiting.
breathe for 5
Nope.
minutes.
I'm just waiting for Gunther to get the title. That's who I'm waiting. Like Seth is a great upper mid card. To me, Seth is the great. That's all Seth is to me is Seth is the middle of the card WrestleMania match that we're gonna talk
Okay,
about
Chad,
later
it's
today.
official. I'm looking for a new co-host. Anybody that wants it, hit my DMs. Let me know. Oh my God, I'm shipping this guy up the river. What are we doing?
That's all he is to me. And that's his. That's no fault but anyone but his in the company. It's like he's that. Like we haven't seen him in this spot. Like yeah, we love him, and that's all we're gonna do. We love him. He's gonna pick us back up in the middle of the card. He's gonna put on a banger. He's gonna get us going again after whatever sleeper we see. He's always gonna be there for us to do that. But he's not my world champion.
Neither was John Cena, buddy, okay?
Listen, John Cena wasn't a lot of people's world champion, all right? If you weren't a little kid or a girl, he wasn't your world champion.
Listen.
Yeah, go. It's your show, Biggs.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Listen, that's where he's kind of at right now, but that's because of the Roman and the bloodline story, okay? He is now the guy on Raw. Okay, Cody's taking...
Is he? Cody and Brock went on after. That they literally are fighting and saying, hey, you're fighting to see who's the top guy on Raw. And you know we just crowned our new world champion. All right. Just go ahead and spit on them, the world champion, one more time while you're at it. Cody literally said in this promo, I know why he tapped me. He's bad. He wants to be the top guy on Raw, and I'm the top guy on Raw. Not the guy going for the world championship? All right. There's another spit on him. Just to let us know where Seth belongs. That is a glorified, what is it? 2.0 Intercontinental Championship right now.
Listen,
I couldn't disagree more. And I think, honestly,
I love the World Heavyweight Championship, but
yeah, I listen, it had to open the show. And the reason it had to open the show was because it needed space from the bloodline story. And you can't put it in the middle of the card, right? And to have it open the show if you put that thing too close to the Roman and Sammy thing, first off, it couldn't have gone afterwards. Then it would have been an afterthought. Right next to it, you realize how the story gap is, right? So it opened the show. It was based purely off their skill and their performance, and it was allowed time to breathe. And I think it was a brilliant move by them. They were kind of backed into a corner, right? I'm sure they have legal obligations with these Saudi shows to have Roman there, to have Brock there. They purposely wrote this story, and so Roman wasn't defending his belts the same night that this belt happened. I think they did the best they could, and I think creating some time separation between them was really key to make it feel important, sort of stand alone. And I think we'll see.
That's fine. My argument is, and I said, I get it. Seth isn't it now. I said he has to prove it to me. But Seth is the top guy.
Prove what to you?
Seth's not the top guy. He couldn't even beat. Brock had to interfere in the match so that he could get the win to go win that world title. He couldn't beat Cody. The guy couldn't beat Cody when he had a torn pec. He couldn't beat Cody when he had a torn pec. They're supposed to believe this is the top guy on Raw.
The guy has been carrying Raw for 3 years, while Roman's been either on SmackDown or not showing up at all. Whether it's his feud with Theory or Lashley or Riddle, he is legitimately the only constant guy on Raw, and his story leads Raw every single time. It's not his fault that they're treating Raw like a secondary show because all the Fox money is forcing all the stars to SmackDown. He has been carrying that show for 3 years. He is the guy. He's so good. He's Undertaker good. They don't got to put a belt on him, right? The good guys don't need belts. My man has been headlining without even having a title for 3 years.
Here's the deal, and there's the wrong. When Undertaker wins a belt, you go, oh God, who's gonna beat him? when Seth Rollins wins a belt, it's like, well, when's he gonna drop that one?
He doesn't need it though. He hasn't needed it. How has he stayed relevant without even being near a championship belt? It's because he's
That's
amazing.
what
He's been carrying it.
I said, listen, I love Seth. He belongs right at the top of the middle card. Mid card guy. He's gonna get us up. We're gonna love his matches. We're gonna love singing his song. We're gonna love him dancing to the ring. But Seth is not the guy. He knows it. He says it. Seth says it. He wants to be, but he knows he's not. I love him. But hey, let's see. Put on some bangers, beat some guys. Let's see it.
Put on some bangers. Oh my God!
His catalog of bangers is better than anybody else's in the.
I didn't say he didn't. I said put on some more. I didn't say put on some more.
Keep doing it. Just keep doing it.
Just keep improving us. Prove me wrong.
The first banger he is going to have, and Ray in chat asked this question a little while ago, but we were deep in the conversation. What feuds do we want him to have? I'm just going to kick this off.
I'll tell you right now, we don't want Cody because he'll lose.
Cody's going away for a little while, or just not going to be a part of it.
And that's another thing. You know damn well if it's Cody and him, his ass is losing.
He lost to him 3 times. If they're facing again, he's not going to lose again. But anyway.
That's because they're not going to have them face.
The first feud should be against Finn Balor, and he overcomes the Judgment Day. It has to be. It has to immediately establish legitimacy because while I can...
There's a list of people. Yeah. How about a returning Drew McIntyre? I mean,
he might go heel.
He needs a heel turn anyways.
Yes.
I'd like to see a McIntyre because he already beat Finn to make it, punch his ticket to Saudi. So I don't think we need to see him face Finn again. I think we need to see him. Drew McIntyre is awesome.
Well, right. Drew McIntyre is a good option. If he comes back.
Give me Seth and LA Knight forever.
Yeah, the only problem is LA's over on SmackDown. That wouldn't be bad either. I think, yes, you give us Seth and Drew. That's a incredible win. That's a good win to put on his belt. That's a big win. That's going to put him over. That's going to make him feel strong. You got to make him feel strong.
If he comes back, that's probably the biggest win he could get, but we don't know if that is a thing yet.
I think the biggest win he could get is the Brock Lesnar win. Brock Lesnar.
Could you imagine that?
Brock is beyond the titles. We're not he's done that. Been there, done that. You know that, and you don't want.
Yeah, honestly though, that would be the best credible win for this guy to really put him back on the map. It's a Brock Lesnar win. Brock Lesnar just beat Cody. Cody goes away, so Sand Heel comes back to him, and in between, Seth stomps him if they think he's up for it.
That from a story standpoint makes no sense, and you know that.
Who else we got there? It's either who else we got? How about a surging Damian Priest?
I don't hate that either.
Who they love and who is again one of the top heels in the company, and just put on a banger with Bad Bunny. I mean, come on.
And if he takes that loss, no one's gonna bat an eye at that.
No one's gonna bat an eye, but no one's gonna bat an eye if he beats him. It's like, okay. The dude just lost Bad Bunny. That's an incredible win.
Again, the Judgment Day aspect, he would need to overcome Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio in that.
I mean, Edge has done it. It ain't that hard.
Okay, but how high do they tout Edge? They still act like this guy's in his fucking prime. You can't turn that down. He beat the Demon inside Hell in a Cell. You can't turn your nose down to Edge. You can't.
Okay. That one is just disappointing. I don't even want to.
Fine, but it happened. It happened.
Basically, Teddy's saying the only way that Seth can have any credibility is if they resurrect Andre the Giant and beats him at the next game.
Whoa. I'm not going that far.
Just move off of it.
Andre, but I mean,
if he beats Andre and Undertaker in a handicap match, then maybe Seth Rollins.
Andre, that's an extreme.
Get out of here.
Not Andre. Maybe Ultra War. Maybe.
Okay, dude.
Then I'll feel the credibility there. But I honestly, I just don't feel it. I don't feel it. I don't feel like Seth's I don't think anybody's gonna believe Seth's a dominant champion over Roman in any century. I don't think it's gonna be close. We're gonna be continuing, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're still calling Roman the undisputed champion. Hell, I might just keep calling him the undisputed champion. I mean,
They're not.
We got-
they're not. You're missing the mark. They're not trying to create another Roman. AJ and him both said this is the working man's title. This is
Yeah.
the blue collar world championship. They're not trying to
AKA
create.
Intercontinental Championship 2.0.
Listen, I think you're just not. Listen, it's a brand new title. That's
I'm
what it
thinking you're
is.
just wrong. I'm thinking you're just wrong. Nick,
That's
don't,
fair.
don't try to.
That's
shut
fair.
it up. He's wrong.
That's fair. That's understandable. You know, we all have our opinion. We all have opinion. I'm
Yeah,
just
some of them are just wrong. No.
Hey, that wouldn't be the first time. I'm just not impressed. Like, you know,
Listen,
I would be more impressed with a Drew McIntyre, to be honest with you.
well, I mean, it's funny you brought him back up again because I wasn't necessarily going to bring this up, but Ray's popping off in chat. He thinks your take was a little outlandish as well. But if we go with Drew, Teddy's accepting the hate on this. He is just bearing it all right now. If it does go to Drew, and we end up in England, do we have a little flip-flop back and forth between titles? Drew steals it in England, and then they go back and forth until SummerSlam, and Seth takes it from there and runs for a while?
Well, I get the question is, do we need a long initial run to bring credibility to the title,
Correct.
or does like
I think so.
the constant defending of it lead to more turnover, which gives credibility to it? I don't know which way they're going to go.
Me personally, I would run with the bangers of a match and the flip flopping it until you get it on a Gunther, let him run along with it. Then you let him run along with it, and then just really establish some credibility.
So
That's
in Teddy's WWE, only two people can be the world champions, right? There's only two. I mean, what are we talking about?
He likes
Well,
big,
who's
meaty
the other
men slapping meat. That's what he wants.
It's only Roman and Gunther are the only two qualified to hold the big belt.
No.
Plastic.
Cody is qualified to hold that damn belt. Cody is, you know. That's Cody too. You know? But listen, no, I told you. Thor and Drew McIntyre. Drew held this title. I'd have been like, okay, I like McIntyre. I think a heel McIntyre, a badass heel, not his last heel run, like a new dominant badass heel Drew McIntyre would be a savage of a world championship champion. But like I know I have this take on Seth, but that's just where I've seen him. That's where I'm going to get used to him. That's where, you know, he as much as he idolizes Shawn Michaels, he has turned right into it.
So he's only becoming the greatest wrestler of all
I
time.
was like, God damn it, he's only one of the best of all time. Son of a bitch.
That's right. That's right. But when Shawn came back, I mean, Shawn wasn't winning no world title. I mean, he got that one world heavyweight title, but he didn't even hold
You know,
it.
we gotta get off this. I
He
mean,
didn't even hold it long. He didn't even hold it long. He wasn't winning no world title.
He didn't need it.
Am I wrong?
What else do we want to talk about from Night of Champions? There wasn't a whole heck of a lot.
Bianca Belair lost her title.
That was interesting because that's something we talked about when we went over our predictions for the show. It really made no sense for Asuka Bianca 2 unless Bianca was going to lose it. Because otherwise, with no build especially, like, why would this rematch make any sense? Not no build, but again, next to no build.
She no build. She popped up and tapped her, and that was it. It was like, oh, all right, she's back. This may be the spark for a Bianca heel turn. She coming back. I don't know if they're willing to run that because there's so many little girls out there in the world that just love Bianca. Like, I don't know if they're willing. It's like the John Cena effect. Like, he didn't want to do it because there's just so many kids who loved him. So I don't know if they're willing to do it. But I heard her, like, they become a stable with her and the Street Profits as a heel stable. So I think they all three of them would benefit from a heel turn.
I think what they have here is you have a behind the scenes group that's in love with faces chasing and long heel runs, right? And it's hard to be a face with a long run because it's like, you know, it's just a very difficult thing. She did a really great job. But I think you're seeing that in Triple H's WWE, he wants heel champions and faces chasing. And then once they get that moment and they have that, like, they hit the top of the mountain, it's not going to be for long because it just doesn't sell as good as a bad guy at top with good guys chasing. So they had to get the belt off of her. The match was, I don't know. I just, again, it feels bad that this is how it comes to an end, not in front of, you know, not in front of a crowd where they could really be appreciated. I'm not saying overall,
yeah.
but definitely with the women's matches, you could tell that's just it's a hard place for women to wrestle and be appreciated and respected over there. But it's just it kind of is what it is.
Well, it was
Yeah, to
interesting.
fight so hard just to be able to wrestle over there. It's crazy.
You mentioned that, but they were really into Trish versus Becky. Like, really into it. I thought, anyway.
Well, Trish is a legend.
Yeah.
And so, they love their legend Trish.
So, yeah, maybe that longevity factor plays into it where Bianca's newer, so she doesn't garner the same respect.
Well, she's just now she can chase. She can either take some time off and she can chase, or she can start chasing right away, or build towards a trilogy at SummerSlam.
Well, I think that does open the door for her to go back at it. I don't think this story between her and Asuka's over the way it ended. It was kind of weird. It seems like this might just be a bump in the road. I don't know.
Start. How about we tell a story now that we have some time to build for something, right? They've had 2 matches with no build.
Yeah. So hopefully that's what they want to do. It does seem a little too late, but if it's good enough, it's never too late, I guess, right? If the story's good enough, I guess it's never too late. But we had also Rhea Ripley just absolutely laying waste to Natalya in less than 10 minutes, including entrances.
Yeah, I had heard Nick and Zach said to me that Natalya said, I don't care if I win or lose, I just want to go out there and have a good match. And Zach was like, you're fighting for the title. What do you mean you don't care if you win or lose?
They mentioned that Michael Cole mentioned that during the match too. I was like, what are we doing? What is happening? But no.
It's very clear they're just strapping a rocket to Rhea Ripley, right? I mean, she's going to be the top women's wrestler.
I almost don't feel like I don't know. I feel like we haven't had enough, like they haven't really focused on her. I feel like why is she getting these thrown like this whole Natalia thing? Like I was just like, where did that come from?
It was random and out of nowhere, but also think about the fact that while lately not a whole heck of a lot, Natalya is one of the greatest women wrestlers of all time. She's one of the most accomplished. She helped transfer from the Divas division to that women's division. She was a big part of that. People forget about that. She was on Total Divas and everything like that, but she was a big part of helping Stephanie McMahon push this revolution through. So that establishes Rhea Ripley in that way. But I think Garrett was right. They're trying to strap a rocket to her and have her take off. That's a legitimate champion she just absolutely laid waste to. Now, it's interesting because you run into a problem of Becky's still tied up with Trish and now Zoe Stark. But,
I like that duo right there.
Yeah,
we can. That Zoe Stark's with on Trish.
We can get to that because that was really interesting. But what's next for Rhea Ripley? I mean, honestly, who could realistically beat Rhea Ripley?
Nobody on Raw.
Hell no. Well, now, so does Bianca find her way over to Raw? Because they were teasing her and Rhea Ripley before WrestleMania. And she just lost the title. I think if you're going to do that,
if you're going to pull the trigger on that, you're going to pull the trigger on that at WrestleMania. And that's when they're going to pull it.
Probably.
You wait that long.
Let's see what they do with the women's Money in the Bank, right? I mean, that's an easy way to get someone over there.
What I'm really interested in is, are you guys gonna stop having the SmackDown Women's Champion on Raw? Raw Champion on SmackDown? Are you just gonna change the names now? Or are you gonna just? What are you gonna do with that? Just put them back where they belong. Change the names or put the championship back where they belong.
Okay, you want to talk about B titles? Is there any bigger way to scream B titles than having the Raw Women's Champion on SmackDown and the SmackDown Women's Champion on Raw and not even care to mention anything about it and just be like, yeah, the SmackDown Women's Champion, she's on Raw now, and we're going to announce her as that every time she's on Raw and vice versa on SmackDown. How dumb is that? I don't understand it. It drives me up a freaking wall. Last time they had a draft, they did it really lazy, but at least it was done. Like, oh, hey, I'm over here now, you're over there now, let's switch. Ha ha ha. Like, they didn't even do that. This is so dumb. I don't understand.
It's almost like
you don't have to do that. Just call it the Women's Universal Championship and the Women's World Heavyweight Champion. Or the Women's. That's easy.
The WWE Women's Champion.
Yeah.
WWE Women's Champion, WWE Universal Women's Champion. Boom. Call it. Or the Universal Women's Champion, the WWE Women's Champion. That's it.
That's what it.
It
It could be that. I mean, the only thing I would say that probably won't happen is I noticed that both belts were redesigned to the new model of like where it's Velcro, but it looks like buckles. So I don't know that they're gonna change it anytime soon, considering they just invested in new belts for them.
I don't know why they did that whole Velcro thing. It looks like more of a pain in the ass for the wrestlers every time. Like it snatches when they don't want it to. It seems like it's just a pain in the ass for the wrestlers.
Anyway, yeah, it'll be interesting, and I don't know.
You feel like you look like you have something to say, Gary, but you're holding it back.
No, not about that. I think I will say, just as a general statement, and I'm not a huge. The women's wrestling I think has been awesome, and the character development is great, as they've been as individuals. But the writing for the women's wrestling has really been one of the biggest faults of Triple H's tenure in charge of creative. I think as good as the storylines have been for the men, they've really lacked for the women, and the women have, in spite of that, put on some really great matches. But it's being ignored, and I don't know if there's not enough time or like what it is, but it's just.
It's noticed. I've seen that comment a lot online.
Yeah.
That was kind of my point about Rhea. Was like, she comes off this really high, great all-time classic WrestleMania match, and then okay, she goes in with the Selena Vega, and that was a huge thing in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
But then it's just like now it's like, ooh, all right. It seems like she's more like It almost feels like she's like, I'm more gonna be the leader of the Judgment Day than be the women's champion. Is what it kind of feels like to me. She's more like the women's champion is almost like her second job, as in her first job is being the leader of the Judgment Day. Is what it feels like to me. And so, but hey, going into WrestleMania, I mean, that story wasn't. Remember, we didn't have much of a story there either. We just,
Well, it's unfortunate that her role, story-wise, with Judgment Day is honestly, it's more important and more well written than her story as the women's champion.
Yeah.
So again, like that just speaks to where they value the women's wrestling as a whole, and it just, I don't know, it's a shame because you have more talent probably than you've ever had. But I think that it's something happened backstage where they lost Sasha Banks and
Naomi,
right? So like there's something weird going on back there with the women. So yeah, you're right. Could you even name a credible threat to either one of the championships? I mean, outside it's hard.
no.
Well, the only credible ones on Raw, literally, they're caught up right now in a feud with each other, Trish and Becky. And I don't even know where is Bayley? Is she on SmackDown? She's on SmackDown, right?
She's on Raw still.
Bayley, what are you doing with Bayley? Like, I mean, you have literally just dragged Bayley through the gutters.
Well, hey, there you go. That's a great name you could throw right there. Bayley versus Rhea Ripley. I mean, people are already rooting for Rhea Ripley, and Damage Control are heels right now. Why not? She could take out Damage Control. Dakota Kai's hurt right now. Or you could send Io Sky at Rhea, because Io's been given a shot. Tamina equals ratings. Oh my god. Simp,
Ain't
please.
nobody meaner than Tamina.
Chat, you're getting out of hand. Settle down. Oh, man. But it's interesting. That's a legitimate question. I guess I'll find out Monday because I'm going. And I get to...
Go.
I'm so excited. I get to see Seth be coronated officially as the World Heavyweight Champion, and I'm going to send a video to Teddy. Hater.
You know what'd be funny? Is it just like when Roman showed up to coordinate his title, Sheamus kicked him and won the title, and Drew McIntyre, Claymore, and Seth and took the title. I would faint.
I think
Happiness.
we do need an immediate like assertion of a challenger, right? I don't.
Correct.
It can't be 6 coronation. Like, let's get a story going.
Well, that's what I said to my Ray in chat. Actually, he's singing Seth's song in chat. Love the energy, buddy. But I said to him, ideally, if Seth wins, he comes out in the beginning, celebrates, does his thing, gets serenaded as he does, and then someone comes out and says, "You're a working champion, right? Let's work tonight. Main event, me and you, World Heavyweight Championship." Immediate title defense for Seth. But it's got to be someone legitimate. Maybe Braun Breaker loses at Break Battle, whatever the hell the NXT.
We know what it is.
Whatever the NXT pay-per-view that is tomorrow. Maybe he loses and get pulled up to the main roster and says, "I want to shoot at the big dog day one." Could be. Don't know.
I think it's going to be Damian Priest, because Damian was already whining about someone costing him his title. So
in the triple threat. Yeah. Because he didn't get pinned, yes.
Yeah, he was blaming Shinsuke.
Yes.
It will be really interesting to see what they do with this title, because you don't want to oversaturate, and I think they probably overcorrected with Roman, right? But it is nice for that championship to feel special. And for Seth, there's a difference between Seth being there every time and Seth defending every time, right? We don't want to get back to the old days of, the early 2000s and late 90s where the title was changing hands 16, 17, 20 times a year. But at the same point, we want to see them working. Working doesn't necessarily mean defending. So I as much as I think that'd be great, and I would want that for you, Nick, because you're going to be there for the title. I don't want them to defend it the first day, because it just.
Maybe they make it one of those like contender matches. If you win, you're the number one contender, and then they build to Money in the Bank or something.
Right.
Because they're having qualifying matches on Monday too, which is cool.
That'd be good.
Yeah. Who do we got? What's the qualifying match? I know we got a Montez Ford and a LA Knight. I know that one, but that's all I know.
They didn't announce any for Raw. In the pre-show, they're like, "Yeah, we'll get more details on that on Raw." I was like, "Okay, so we're not."
You named one for SmackDown, but not Raw.
Lovely, thank you.
Just give me some Chad Gable. Come on, I need Chad Gable.
Oh, Chad Gable.
The Alpha Academy is finally over again. We got Otis doing the worm. That's exciting stuff.
That's a credible world champion right there, Chad Gable.
I thought you were gonna say Otis.
If anybody deserves a title, it's that man. Give that man something. He is amazing.
Not now, but
he was on fire at WrestleMania. Like, we were feeling it for him. We were feeling it.
So, Teddy, you've been talking a lot about this guy, and Ray asked, and now I got to know. What do you see for Gunther next? What's he doing?
I think a smart thing would do is you get a Bronson Reed and Gunther clash at SummerSlam. Build up Bronson and have him challenge Gunther at SummerSlam. I think that's a wise build up right there. Have Gunther smash and send someone to the Shadow Realms in the next pay-per-view or whatever, and then we have a big blowout between Reed and Gunther at SummerSlam.
When I tell you he obliterated Mustafa Ali this afternoon, he obliterated Mustafa Ali this afternoon.
Did you see his chest? Did you see it? And Mustafa Ali is a more pigmented man, and his chest looked like he was pale, and someone chopped him. It was rough.
Tender.
How about that kick when Mustafa tried to come back in the ring, and he just erased him with that kick?
It was brutal. I just love seeing people get beat up. Like, I just love it. I think it's wonderful. Like, that's what I expect out of a wrestling match. And man, did he light his ass up. I was like, woo.
I was watching the match with my cousin, and I was like, yo, if you want to know what an ass-kicking dominant championship win looks like, watch this match, because Gunther is absolutely about to cave Mustafa Ali inside.
Hey, they let Mustafa breathe for a little bit, though. I thought it was
They did.
I thought the match was great. It could, you know what? It could have been a squash match, and you wouldn't have blinked. You wouldn't even have thought twice about it. It would have made sense. They let that man breathe, and he worked. Give that guy, give him something. You know what? Listen, this one is near and dear to my heart. Again, you know my WCW fandom. Bring back the cruiserweight championship, please. Not 205. Bring back the cruiserweight championship. There are enough little guys that can do high impact stuff. He could carry a cruiserweight division.
Good. I mean, and
Not on a second show, not on a separate show.
because look at who you could have. You have Chad Gable, and Chad, like Mustafa Ali's awesome, but imagine Chad carrying it. You would get a lot of miles out of that with him, with Otis as an enforcer type of thing, and like they're hanging around and just being wacky. And then, or you could have Mustafa Ali carry it, and then
Ricochet gets thrown right into the mix too.
Ricochet. Ricochet might be too heavy because what was the cutoff limit? Ricochet might be just.
We can make up his weight. It can be whatever we want it to be.
Matt Hardy was the cruiserweight champion, okay?
Oh, God, he was?
Yes, he was. Don't forget that ever.
Chris Jericho was a dominant cruiserweight champion in WCW.
So, yeah, you know what? Yeah, just we should give them something to do. Because, Mustafa Ali is phenomenal.
People really like Mustafa Ali. And I think what Garrett said, they did let him breathe in this match. It's a testament to that. Because when he came out, the fans were all about it.
Yeah.
How clean was that 450? How clean was that 450?
He's really good. And I said this again to my roommate. Like, he's one of those guys that sells himself out of championships. Because he looks so good getting hurt, it's hard to believe he's going to win.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, he's so entertaining too. That whole thing with him and Brock, like just the fact that Brock must like him to even be bothered to do that with him. He was just like, get a life, kid, and Brock didn't need to do that. He was just like, okay, like he's I've heard he's done a lot of stuff that was really good that I've heard people talk about online, and they just wouldn't use it because they just didn't want to use him and stuff like that. Like they killed the whole retribution thing. Like he was like he could have. I think he could have really done well with that, but they killed it. Like it's almost like they've been just trying to make him fail for years, and now they're kind of giving him a little bit more room to breathe. Like he took this really dumb idea of a character, and he's making it work. Like Mustafa I believe, or whatever he's doing, I forget what it is, but he's making it work. He's making it work. He's entertaining. That's it is what it is. He's entertaining. He's good in the ring, and his hair looks amazing.
That match was it was good. It was exactly what it needed to be. He had a chance to showcase himself. Gunther continues to establish himself as just a dominant force, and I think you're right. You're gonna struggle to find faces to keep throwing at him. I mean, I think they'll probably go back to Sheamus for Money in the Bank just because of where it is.
Yeah.
Anytime we go across the pond, but you're gonna run out of people real quick.
I mean, isn't that a perfect ending to this? Because listen, let's go full circle here, okay? Gunther loses to Sheamus at Money in the Bank in the UK. Big moment for Sheamus, big pop. Then where does Gunther look next? Seth freaking Rollins.
I don't think it's happening that soon. They're gonna it doesn't make any sense. They're gonna have Gunther beat the Honky Tonk Man's record. One, I don't think WWE is in the greatest standing with Honky Tonk Man. Honky Tonk Man has pissed off someone. I don't know who it is, but I remember it is. But also, he's so close. Why not have him break the record? Roman's not beating the WWE record. If he does, I mean, we're all gonna fall out of our chairs if he beats Bruno's record. Roman's got another 3 years to even touch Bruno's. I think he's got another 4 years. He's got to go 3 years. He's got another 3 years to go to beat Bruno's. Five. He's got another 5 years, so he's not beating Bruno's. If he does, I did see a funny meme, and it was like WrestleMania 50, and it's like 1, 2, 3, and you hear Roman's music, and everybody's like,
damn.
But I don't think Roman. So why not have Gunther beat Honky Tonk Man's record? Because everybody's like, oh, Bianca is the longest reigning current woman,
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't even think they're going to acknowledge the Honky Tonk Man's record because they haven't mentioned it.
But he still have Macho Man still ahead of him too, so.
Okay, that's fair. But they are already deeming him the longest reigning intercontinental champion of the modern era, and they're already saying that. I think they're literally trying to erase anything previous before 2000.
I think he'll carry it to around September. And then when he hits September,
I don't know. Yeah.
he beats that record, and then I think, well, because I guess they're going to India again, but I thought I heard they were going to try to go to, they're going to try to go over to Ireland. But
Clash.
maybe, I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe they wait till a Survivor Series. I don't know. It's convoluted. They really messed up because like you do think that no one should beat him other than Sheamus. Should beat Gunther for that IC title, but Sheamus is on SmackDown, and you have the United States Championship on SmackDown. So
yeah, that's right.
So
he's got almost 100 days to get to Honky Tonk Man. I mean, it's just, I think they'll do it too. God, he's so dominant. It's gonna be hard to find someone.
Yeah, I think to be honest, the only people I see beating him are not on Raw. They're on SmackDown.
Well, that's the thing I just thought of. Like, Raw's got some work to do. They gotta develop this roster a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if Drew comes back, Drew could put down Gunther. Later down the line, he could, but I don't know. I don't know. That would actually be pretty cool. So Drew comes back, beats Gunther, later down the line, and then we have a collide between Sheamus and Drew at WrestleMania for the title. I ain't mad at it.
That'd be interesting. 40's going to be a big one.
You should get yourself over there, Garrett. You should get yourself to 40.
Oh, I'm doing Philly.
Let's go.
I'm absolutely doing Philly.
You're going?
I mean, we're a long ways away from it, but it's definitely something that we want to do.
Yes, sir.
Who's we? You and your kids, or?
I'll probably bring both. Yeah.
Let's go.
That means we got to hang out here because we're going.
Listen, there's so many people because it's in Philly that want to go. Like, I've talked to a few people that are like, "Yo, are you going?" I'm like, "Yeah."
And so I'm not gonna lie, I'm looking at the rosters online because I'm not fully wound up on all after post draft. But what about Shinsuke? What about Shinsuke and Gunther?
Shinsuke just lost to the Fed. And I think we've seen that already. We did see that.
Strowman?
Seen it. We didn't see Finn. We haven't seen Finn and Gunther. We could see the Judgment Day start picking a fight with Gunther, and then we have an Imperium versus Judgment Day type of thing. That can drag us out for a little bit.
But they don't like heels versus heels. That's really not. What about? I'm not gonna lie. I've never seen the guy wrestle before, but Dragunov or whatever his name is, who dethroned him in NXT.
We've talked about him.
I think rumor has it that Ilya Dragunov's going to come up around SummerSlam and he's going to join Imperium.
And that would mean McDonough would almost certainly be locked into the Judgment Day.
Those factions could. I think heel versus heel factions is like it's fun. Like I don't know. You don't have to stick with it. Like the heels nowadays aren't real heels, and babyfaces nowadays aren't real babyfaces. Well, heels, at least real heels aren't. Heels are almost babyfaces. Heels are more popular than babyfaces these days.
What's like that during the Attitude Era too?
Garrett would know. He was watching WCW.
Can I tell you, I was watching, I just get sucked down these rabbit holes, and I'm watching old WCW, and it was so bad. So they made so many mistakes. I mean, so many massive mistakes.
Well, you mentioned that, and like people are talking about AEW having that issue now. People are looking around at the product AEW is putting out, and besides their like main event stuff, they're kind of like, this isn't very good. There's a lot of people that like aren't necessarily established like good performers in the ring, and their numbers for tapings have been down. Their house show attendance has been.
You got to give them slack though, because we're always comparing them to whatchamacallit. Like they're still what are they 5 years out of the gate if that.
Okay, but like, how old was WCW?
Yeah, but so
WCW was a regional brand before it became. I mean. Before it became the main competitor. I mean, here's the reality. Tony Khan is a billionaire. He's not going to run out of money, so it doesn't matter if it loses money or not. It's going to keep.
And
It's good to have a competitor, right? It's good to have
they have
something to
strong
keep them.
TV contracts too.
Yeah,
Their
it's
TV
good.
contracts are real strong.
It's good to have something to keep them honest. I mean, you could say that WCW got or WWF and WWE got bland when there was nobody left when they ate up WCW and there was nobody left to push them and compete. I mean, they could basically do whatever they wanted, right? And now they know if they don't treat their guys right, if they don't, give them the proper stories, they're going to leave and they're going to go somewhere where they're going to get treated with respect. So I think there's competition always breeds the best. I can't lie, I don't give AEW much attention, so I can't speak much to it. It seems a bit like a spot fest. Every time I see something on TikTok or on Instagram, it's always someone doing something that is going to take years off their life, and it just doesn't seem worth it.
MJF complained about that. Like they're just demanding more and more of the fans, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not a spot guy. Like I said, I'm just a clean cut in the ring, punch in the face, kick you in the mouth type of guy. But it's very spot fest over there. Like
it's tough because they're indie driven, right? And then you have these promotions like GCW, which is Deathmatch Central. And a lot of people go there, and AEW does that type of stuff every once in a while. So they're like, oh, they get a little taste for it, and they just want more. They can't help themselves.
And this is the problem that WWE had, and they had to correct, and it was hard when they first did it, right? But I think they realized it was like, all right, Jeff Hardy can't swanton bomb off of a 100-foot thing over and over again. We can't have people bleeding and thumbtacks and stuff like this every single week. I mean, that was every single week was unbelievable. They just knew like the body is not going to hold up, and they've reset it really really well. And now when you see a spot, it's a great spot it's more about the storytelling than about the actual thing, and I really appreciate that. I just think like what's going to happen? Someone's going to die. I mean, they did during COVID, right? They did the barbed wire for the ropes, and they were like, never again. Like this was stupid, and it's just you got to be careful because you give people blood and more blood, and they're going to want more and more and more. It's never enough. And so
it's funny. I've actually toned down on. I prefer less blood. Like it's just crazy. Like I said, it's like
I'm older.
It's unrealistic.
Yeah,
I just want to, like I said, I know I always go back to it, but this is my favorite wrestler right now. It's like I love a good Gunther style match. Like hit him really hard in places that don't break.
William Regal style.
Yeah, William Regal style. Just hit him real hard in places that don't break. Make me go, oh, God, I'd be dead if I got hit with that. Like just like, don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. Just hit like Gunther's matches look like if someone kicked out, I'm like okay. You don't ever like see Gunther hit someone with something and go, all right, this man should be dead. No way he should even kick out.
I thought that a couple times.
Yeah, if you want to.
Well, I mean, punches and kicks, yeah.
If you want to see people just literally beat the hell out of each other, go watch a boxing match. Go watch a UFC match. If you want to see a story told through through this physical combat, this is what it's said, and that's what they do. I mean, the first 3 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever it was of the main event today, nobody even touched anybody, but they were telling this amazing story, and you were hooked and you were in, right? And nobody had to smash a light bulb over someone's head or throw tacks on the floor or cut themselves so they're bleeding over. And that's what it needs to be. I mean, I wanted to say, and we had an opportunity to get back to it, but the work that Roman Reigns is doing as a heel is some of the best heel work I've ever seen in my entire time as being a wrestling fan. And I think I think he's been getting better and better, obviously, but it like peaked at Elimination Chamber, and I keep going back to watch that main event with him and Sammy, and someone said it perfectly. He's not a heel anymore. He is like a super villain. Yeah. Like he is Thanos, and he is just this. It's amazing what he's doing and what he's saying in the ring, his facial expressions in the ring. The way he's carrying himself is unbelievable, and
WrestleMania was a good. I wanted to because we haven't talked since WrestleMania, but his match at WrestleMania with Cody, like I've seen so much character growth from him in that match. Not only like his facial expression, everything he did had purpose, and people were like, I think you had said it. We're gonna get the basic Roman match. I was like, no, I think they're gonna step it up. Boy, did Roman really step it up, and I mean, I'm telling you. If Cody won, I think we're talking about that being one of the best main events of all time. If not the best of the
Go back and just objectively watch Elimination Chamber, the main event, and just watch Roman. Like, ignore everything else, right? Because there's so much going on in that match. he goes after Sammy's wife.
Oh, I remember that. Actually, I remember you saying that.
I
I didn't want this. I didn't want this, and he's like talking in her face, and like it's
Blaming
beating him up
Sammy in front of his wife.
in
This
front of-
is his
and
fault.
his kids, not just the wife, his kids, Sammy's kids.
And it's like he literally turned from heel to supervillain, and it's been amazing. And
Well, he's like in God mode.
yeah, the other thought I had while I was watching today was as they're all standing in the ring, I'm like, there's one goat in the ring right now, and he's holding two belts, and his name is Paul Heyman. That man is unbelievable.
You want to talk about the
Amazing.
greatest manager in the history of professional wrestling? It is Paul Heyman. You want to talk about doing the most by saying absolutely nothing? The strings he pulls with his facial expressions and how, like, he's not the guy, but he's the guy, right? He's the reason Roman has the blue belt in the first place. He's the reason Roman has been able to walk around these red lines and through all this tape the entire time. He has made it so easy for Roman. And the way he can carry the show and the bloodline story, Roman doesn't need to be there. Roman comes out and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman," and everybody's like, "Okay, what's he got to say?" Because he's saying what Roman needs to say. He's the guy.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable. He is. I said it to you guys 2 months ago or whatever. He's the greatest manager of all time.
Yep.
He continues to cement his legacy. I would say it's not even close at this point. It's the stuff he's doing right now is unbelievable.
It takes two, and these two it's crazy. Like what he did with Brock Lesnar was amazing, but what he's doing with Roman is just no one will ever live up to this again.
Sad to
No,
say, it might be true.
I think one thing that I'm trying to do more, and this is just again because I'm getting old, is I'm trying not to like read into too much about like what's next or what the long-term plans are, and I'm not like I love talking about it, right? Because it's fun. I'm just trying to. I'm just trying to enjoy it because like he's going to lose at some point. It's going to be amazing, and then he's going to have to go away because this will never be recreated, and he's going to become like the Undertaker. Essentially, he's going to come in, do spots here and there. It's going to be a big deal when he shows up, but it will never be like this again. I mean, it's incredible, and Paul plays a huge part of that.
Yeah. And it's like, it's funny because you want to say, oh, he's underappreciated and all of this, but he's really not. I think every step of the way he's getting the respect he deserves. Like
when Roman eventually turns on him, that will be heartbreaking for me, right?
Oh my God, I never thought about that. Why would he turn on him?
But did you see it at the end? They were walking up the ramp today. He just gives him these looks, and I think he's like, it's going to happen I think as they start to tell the demise of Roman, right? Because it's going to have to become something systemic. Right? No one's just going to go in the ring and beat him one-on-one. It's going to have to become this long, drawn out, like fall into paranoia, and like the Usos are gone, right? And eventually he's going to turn on Solo, and it's just going to be him and Paul, and then he's going to turn on Paul at some point, and it's going to be amazing. And because the reality is we have to stretch this out for 8 more months until April, right? Until next April, 10 more months until next April.
How do we do that with the Usos already gone? How do we stretch it out that far with the Usos?
Well, I think you're going to get through the summer, right? I think that culminates with a match with I think they probably tag. I think it'll be Roman and Solo versus the Usos at
Ooh.
And then I think you get something with him and Jay, or sorry, Jimmy kicked him, right? Him and Jimmy, and that gets you through the summer, right? That gets you through SummerSlam. Maybe if they're still doing War Games or something there, or Survivor Series or something there.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
The way you're telling the story, Garrett, is really good. But you know what it does? It opens up two paths. It opens up two paths with this big, massive feud with the family. Now, no one wants this, but no one will be mad if we get it. We can get another Roman and Cody at Mania, or we can get a Roman Rock at Mania because of this whole feud with the family.
We don't need him. We don't need him.
We don't need him, but who's gonna be mad if we do get it? Like, who's gonna be mad?
If you didn't get him in LA, you're not getting him in Philly. So I don't want to talk about it for the next 10 months. It's not happening.
That's true, but the way you tell the story, it opens it up. I prefer Cody and Roman, but the way you tell the story, man, whew, you're the storyteller right there.
I just it's I mean it's well they're laying the table. We're just kind of connecting the dots. But I watch Paul. I think I end up. It's funny because you know how you know he's good. It's like that's who you're watching. And there's a wrestling match going on, and you're watching the manager
Yes.
because he's amazing.
He has always been like that. Even I don't forget his Brock and his Brock and Roman match, the first one at WrestleMania 31, and you could Paul was the life of that match. Like his face, like the throwing the hands, up, and then just I know I bleeped out for a second. Throwing the hands up, and then just his every facial expression, his every word was just like it brought life to that match. Could you imagine Paul Heyman on commentary again?
Oh, that was a wonderful time in history.
He would be great on.
I'll never forget when he was the manager for the Big Show. I was a big fan of that. That was very fun.
I'm older than you guys, and I keep saying it, but like, go back and watch old tapes of ECW when he managed Rob Van Dam. Like it's on the stuff he did. I mean, he created and carried ECW. The stuff he did in ECW 20 years ago was amazing. Or 25 years ago was amazing. His run with CM Punk was awesome. His run with Rock was legendary. This has been legendary. I mean, everything the guy touches turns to gold.
Except for Ryback, but that wasn't Paul's fault.
Nobody could have picked Ryback.
The big guy ain't it.
And listen, be careful because he might be watching this because you don't know what Ryback's doing right now, so you don't want him showing
What's he
up.
gonna do? What's he gonna beat us up?
Ryback is very into the internet comments and he gets very offended. What I just saw him. I feel like he's suing somebody now. I don't
Okay, they'll somehow, I guess.
anything to stay relevant. Listen, this has been an awesome show, guys. Is there anything we want to touch on last minute before we head out of here?
No.
I
So,
just
hey,
hope.
have fun tomorrow. Have fun on Monday, man.
Oh, I cannot wait.
I'm just gonna end on his final words.
Mm.
I just hope Seth can bring honor to that championship because I don't think he can. But anyway, that's just me.
Hey, thanks, Chad, for hanging out with us. You were awesome today. Thanks to everybody watching back. We love you guys so much. And listen, Seth is going to be there on Monday. I couldn't be happier. It's going to be a great time. Keep on the lookout for content from that. Got some fun stuff planned. But anyway, we'll catch y'all in the next one. Have a good one. Peace.
Peace. We all.